Well, I'm back at it again. So here we are to the second director's commentary that we're doing. Now, I don't know why I decided to start looking at the Grey Ghost comic book. I don't know why. I mean, it's pretty neat, but eh, whatever. It's pretty cool. Don't remember the quality being this. Oh, that's my fault. Okay, now we can get nice res. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about here. First of all, establishes a lot of stuff about the, you know, that, but it also has looking down upon the dead guys or and girl, which also was what happened with Shrike previously. I just like that little parallel. I'm pretty sure Arkham Analysis said this, but this does parallel how Leslie and Bruce met in the animated series. There's probably some kind of metaphor about the like going into the light that they said that, but I cannot comment to it. But oh wait, no, I just did because this whole game is about Batman coming into the light and being a hero instead of just being a kind of an asshole. I love these simply because of how atmospheric they are and just random racking lines. Problem is they're unskippable, so I pretty much can just do Gotham is a hang on, Gotham is a prison, stockade for the body and the mind. Hey, there's Officer Balls. Or Balls again. I already said. I always liked the mirrors in this game. There aren't a lot of mirrors in this game. Yeah. Now that skyline is going to be very important very soon. Now I want to do a deep dive on Yamashiro simply because we now know he is the a cop, not the Rat King. He's just a cop who's undercover. I just want to see if I can notice anything that might be hinting towards it. I mean, him sizing up a new guy with that rat mask on probably a bit of a hint that he's a bit nosy. I love how they gave him the cool nickname of Batches Malone. Yeah, as you notice, there's text options for you to choose what Batman or Matches says, which he's a lot more serious here. I think he might be trying to draw a connection because he is a detective. Uh, I love giving people the thumbs up. People are only really nice to you when you're playing as matches, which even so I get to do the thumbs up more. I like how another thing is that in a is that on a VR controller, there's no actual button to tell if your thumb is up or down. So they just try and tell via the cameras on the headset. So it's always it takes a little bit, but it's always totally worth it when it gets to that point. It's great. I also hate these doors simply because it takes so long, but then again, it's probably load times. Oh yeah, we got the TV. Ba, 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 da, 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 ba. I always like this. Just like the newspapers, it makes the world feel more alive and gives some more lore. Now, was thinking of bringing this up, but I'm gonna bring it up now. I might have forgotten to do it in the first one, but Dent getting covered in gasoline kind of when I first played through the game, I thought that him being covered in gasoline was the reason that Harvey ended up becoming Two Face later down the line. Because, well, mainly because I played these games right after finishing watching the Dark Knight trilogy for the first time. Those are some amazing movies. If you like Batman content, you should give those a try. And that's how Dent gets. That's how everything gets split down the middle in that movie. In the or movie, I mean, he's only in one movie, but I mean, he's in the third movie as like mentioned, like they talk about him, but he's pretty much just in the second. So, which I think really added to the high stress of that situation for me to me. Pro- But for people that haven't seen The Dark Knight, which while great movies, they're also really old. I mean, sure, they're like classics. It's just most people know either don't really pay much attention to the latest Batman film, or most people are growing up on whatever Matt Reeves is cooking up. I didn't watch those. I heard they were okay. I haven't gotten around to it yet. I mean, I'm mainly worried that because they're doing Riddler, and I've of the belief that Riddler is a character that is very hit or miss. Either he hits and he's the greatest written character like of Batman's entire rogues gallery, or he's just kind of like riddle me this, Batman. I have four legs in the morning, two in the afternoon, and three at night. What am I? Like that's a little more passable and more like sillier Batman stuff, but I want something a bit more cerebral. I want to think a little. I want but that's besides the point. But I'm not sure why they put that in because I doubt many people came into this recently with the Dark Knight in mind. Although a lot of the music in this game is a lot more like the Dark Knight than the Arkham series, in my opinion. I mean, it's still good. It's just different. Uh, I love that bit simply because one, the player character did that. We did that. We get to see everybody's reactions to our actions, which is really cool. There's also the fact that this is canonically the first time somebody in all of the Arkham series, and probably most Batman media I can think of, said, like, it's just so strange how we literally had Batman Arkham Knight get M rated, go for an M rating. Hang on, I'm looking it up to make sure. I'm looking its ESRB rating up on my second monitor to make sure I can like get things right. And then look, it says right there, language, language, and the worst language I think they ever used in that game was saying like "son of a bitch," but then again, in let's go to Arkham City, which was uh, no Arkham. Hang on, that's Arkham. Batman Arkham City. It's my language, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pretty sure they said bitch a lot more in that game than they did in Arkham Knight. I'm just a bit confused here. I'm very confused on the ESRB. As I said in the last one, I do not understand the age ratings of the ESRB at all. It's just don't trust these guys to make informed decisions about like the age appropriateness of a piece of media or any of them. They don't know what they just don't know what they're talking about. But that's besides the point. So first F bomb in the Arkham series. Another thing is that how they're saying that there used to be limits, like as if like there wasn't like in Arkham Origins, Origins Blackgate, and probably several decades of Gotham corruption and mob violence, countless murders. Definitely thanks to Black Mass, some torture, but suddenly just setting the bat signal on fire, something that is very new. Somehow that's crossing the line. I just find it funny. I just find it funny. I don't know. I don't particularly. Yeah. I don't get why they put that in, but it's funny. And it. But I guess that's kind of the point. It's just funny, and they probably had that actor play someone else and thought they could get him in for a couple of laughs, and they already had that area built in like whatever. I don't know what engine this game's made in. I mean, it probably said it in like the title sequence or the credits, but I'm not gonna go over and find it. Hang on, no, I'm gonna do that. Hang on. All right. What engine is an Arkham Shadow in? It's in Unity. Okay, that I mean that tracks. Some of the best games of all time are made in Unity. Super Monk or the new remakes of Super Monkey Ball, and of course, Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. And I think it's sequel. I don't know yet. I'll have to do more research on the sequel, or we just need to wait for like the eighth featurette. But the yeah, it probably was easy, and it's just a fun little thing. When I first played through the game, I didn't understand that they would just constantly loop that same like clip, and I wanted to hear about the cat rescue. So I sat there and sat there. No cat rescue. I just really wish that they'd. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it was. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the cat rescue was probably courtesy of a very early Superman, just because that seems like his kind of thing. All right, this newspaper article is really good because because it establishes that. I mean, if you can't read it too good, it's fine, but it establishes that that Malone, that as Batman as Malone was really stepping into his role and just acting like a dick to the cops, so that he could go into the get into character. I really like that. That's pretty cool. Oh wait, I think we're getting up to Walker. I love Walker, man. All right, here's Walker. He's just a total pro. He's awesome. I heard in lore that apparently he's in here for a noise complaint for playing really loud music, which I mean, yeah, that is kind of that's not really good, and that's probably I gave him the finger guns because you got him, man. It's Walker. Okay, first of all, I never understood why it was laid out where the showers are just. I mean, I guess they put it there so that we can see this and learn about contraband, which becomes important later. But I don't understand to just pass through on the way to the yard. I would think it would be in its own little area. And also, I never understood why they wear clothes while doing it. Like, sure, I mean, there's not much in the way of privacy in general. A lot of people might have problems with that, but if only the top half of your body is able to get cleaned, that bottom half is gonna get real stinky real fast. So I know it's weird for me to just be overanalyzing this, considering I'm not Arkham Analysis. That's her thing, but she didn't talk about this, and I thought it was worth talking about, unless I'm remembering her video wrong. But still, I don't really know. If you have any ideas as to why they do this, because it defeats the purpose of a shower in my eyes. Brandon, he went private sector after getting fired in Arkham Origins. I like how they actually brought back his actor for it, considering it's such a minor character from Arkham Origins, yet it's so nice for him to be here. I love, I love this bait and switch he pulled. I never understood why the cutscene persisted for so long after he says, "Come back after you found something." Okay, Arkham Analysis talked about it, but I think we need to talk about it here simply because, well, you're talking to your mother, and then you swear on your mother's grave that uh, something is the case. While you're talking to your mother, who for you to be talking to them and to be so concerned about them believing you that you would swear on your mother's grave, this mother is alive. The only way I can make sense of this is if there's two mothers, because either divorce or lesbian power couple. Both of which are both of I mean divorce is a tough thing, but both of which are situations that are understandable. Uh, the, it's just that it's just that that's a bit confusing. Argonaut is I don't think she like thought about either like divorce or a lesbian couple to where there can be two moms, but I'm still it's just I'm just like if you're talking to Pa and you swear on your mother's grave, then things get a little less confusing. But still, I love knocking on service because I just get to go to town. Joe Chill. Okay, I need to tell a personal anecdote about Joe Chill. About Joe from this being Joe Chill because they never say it's Joe Chill until the end. And Joe Chill in pretty much every version of Batman, pretty much anything that isn't the 1989 film, is the guy that killed Bruce's parents. Now, I find it strange. I find it kind of cool that in order to have Batman's redemption arc, sort of, and like learn to care for the villains, pretty much forgive, pretty much just becomes friends with Joe Chill and like lets him off the hook at the end. But one thing is that, well, everybody, from what I've heard, pretty much everyone and their mother who first played this game thought and knew this, pretty much like guessed correctly that this was Joe Chill. That, yeah, not me. It came as a surprise to me at the very tippy end. I think that's just embarrassing. But then again, I was still reeling from the fact that this was Batman in VR, and unlike Batman Arkham VR, it didn't suck. So I was still just riding off of that high, the high of just you know having a good Arkham game in VR. Like that was like unheard of at the time. Like I remember when Arkham Shadow was like only announced and it was announced as a VR game, everybody lost their mind because like they were like, "Oh, this is what we're getting instead of we're getting a VR game instead of a real man's Arkham game." When this is just a real man's Arkham game played on a on a on a uh, on a on a VR headset with a couple of things to make it more suitable for a VR headset, which is pretty similar in my eyes to a real man's Arkham game or woman or whatever you're supposed to refer to non-binary people as. I mean, I'm always confused because like man and woman all have so little few like syllables, but non-binary has three. It's just a bit confusing for me. I hope I don't get like canceled or anything for this, and I don't mean any offense. It's just that I just find it a little confusing that it's just so long, and that it's and that there's only like one word that they just really stretched along a lot of it. I personally think that they should try and come up with a word with words that fill in the stuff so that people like me who don't really go into a lot of that like fandom stuff that don't really get confused. Hang on. Yeah, yeah, okay. So yeah, that's hang on. I love how sleazy I moved it while being Malone. I did not intend on like there to be differentiation, being able to like even if you didn't know like that I was like you could hardly tell that it was the same guy. Just like with the thing from Batman the Animated Series again, that I kind of like that I kind of have my own version of that Batman the Animated Series scene, which I put in the previous director's cut, and the just I just like that like I subconsciously picked up what I consider to be the greatest strength that any good actor of Batman needs to have, and that is being slightly different in how they act between Batman and Bruce Wayne, and in this case also matches Malone. Because like I think if you aren't able to pull that off, you're either pull off the ability for Bruce Wayne and Batman to seem distinct from each other. I think you need to be in a different business because Adam West was able to do that. I mean, Adam West was amazing, but it's like uh, pretty much every Batman actor that, in my opinion, is good. It's very easy. Like it's almost as if it's a completely different person, but it's the same, which it really plays into the duality of Batman as a character. Which because Batman and Bruce Wayne kind of like in like Batman Returns, for example, they're very like they aren't going well with each other. One thing that about this sequence that I always found strange is that I find it cool that you're able to pick between the two, while it doesn't really affect like anything. It's still kind of it's still neat that you can like choose, but the thing is, I always skip this because skippable cutscene, and that was it would always be the book. It was always be the book that you got afterwards. Never the poison, the actual poison, just the metaphorical poison, which I think is just kind of weird. Probably easier to code though. I'm not sure if that is or isn't because I don't really code much in Unity. I'm a all the coding I've done has been in JavaScript and Python. I'm a Python purist, if you will. So if anyone who knows a lot about Unity can tell me if this who's watching, of course, I mean, there's probably tons of people who aren't watching that could tell me because why if this would be easier or harder to code. I love this. One of my favorite little exchanges because he said Sweden, which I'm pretty sure. Sweden. Yeah, Sweden has been in a lot of wars over the course of history. They've almost. Meanwhile, Switzerland, there's not a single. It hasn't had a war since since 1815, which means that there isn't a single person still alive who fought for or against Switzerland in a war. But Sweden and Switzerland, while being in very different parts of Europe, very different culturally and probably geographically, I always got him confused as a kid, and it looks like Joe does too. So I'm kind of relating to this guy, even though he's a hardened criminal that I guess he's reformed, but still. I didn't understand where he's going with this. I thought it's just a generic, uh, like, oh, he's kind of feeling guilty over, his crimes. I think that might have gotten a lot of people on the trail of, oh, this is Joe Chill, because I mean, in most interpretations of the character, Joe Chill almost immediately after killing Bruce's parents and leaving him orphaned is about as traumatized as Bruce himself is, simply because like he did a horrible thing. It was horrible, and he knows it. And so, yeah, but I didn't notice it. I guess I'm just a dumbass. I always found it weird that they had a shop in this game. Basically, if you weren't playing on New Game Plus, whenever you got achievements, you got money which you could spend on random stuff for your sell. I already had it all bought, so you saw a lot of junk in there. I find it kind of cool, and it's a really neat way to integrate achievements into the game, considering, MetaQuest games don't really have achievements, and this game was only on that no Steam version. Prob- So, yeah. I didn't know you had to press leave for that, or maybe I did, but I just forgot because, like I said last time, I did this playthrough like 6 months or so after I last played through the game. Because, well, I was about to say I was playing other games, but I wasn't. I wish I could have been, but I just went through a major dental surgery. Wisdom teeth got pulled. I tried to do a little presenting on knees. I just felt it was funny and it aided the vibe, and it not going in just makes it funnier. I love this. No, for the rest of this, Malone for the entirety of this does not start a single fight. He just finishes them, which, in my opinion, is the only acceptable use of violence in any case. You don't start a fight, but if one's going on and you're in it already, or someone that you really don't want to be in it is in it, uh, get in there. Now, one thing I like is that while they did earlier say it was his morning walk, Yamashiro did, Falcone then just said that he hates walking, which I honestly think is kind of funny, considering that. Well, I think that's because Nakano, Yamashiro's his cover name. His actual name is Nakano, Chris Nakano. I think I'm might be remembering it wrong. They only say his name, not name, name like 5 times in the entire game because it's mostly Yamashiro because covered name and all that. But but I like to think that he was given a bit of faulty intel going in. I love how he's just like, like that sounds like something my brother would do. He would totally do that if he was Yamashiro here. Now, another tip for speedrunning is that if you're quick, you can actually go around Yamashiro and skip his entire dialogue and also not go to Falcone and just go straight to the vent here and skip a bunch of stuff, or at least save a couple seconds, which could be the difference between getting the world record and not. Or there might be a way around it. I don't really pay much attention to the speedrunning community of this game, but that could be it. Uh, I love that. I love that Falcone just has that. Also, another thing for this entire vent crawling sequence, if you just go fast and don't listen to the dialogue, you can just skip it, but it's really jarring, and it just goes right to the end where you get into a fight. All right, I love this. I love what's about this next bit, Mr. Falcone. Now, the name Falcone has a bit of history in Batman media. Uh, because one of the biggest one of the biggest things with media is that in certain pieces of Batman media is Falcone because that is how it's supposed to be pronounced because it kind of spells cone as in like an ice cream cone. But they have Falcone so that they can make it sound more Italian and fit in a lot better with Maroni, the other big mobster at the time in Batman comics in like year one comics, like Frank Miller back in peak Frank Miller days. Man, what happened to that guy? He was making such good stuff, and then All Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder came in, and nobody. He just doesn't have the. All right, no, but they also, but this same mistake, but the Falcone only really happened in the Arkham series and Batman Begins. But this was not the only time that the Dark Knight trilogy had a mispronounced name where they called it. R- Hang on. Okay, so not only was I interrupted, but while I was interrupted after actually weeks, I was able to look it up, and apparently I had it backwards. Falcone is the correct Italian pronunciation, while Falcone is the Americanized version. So, whoopsies. Actually, no. Falcone is how it's been used in a lot of stuff recently, mostly the Batman. But uh, but another thing happened with Batman Begins. Batman Begins, I thought was like on a pronouncing things wrong spree, but actually it was the opposite. Arkham was because Ra's al Ghul is actually supposed to be pronounced Raj al Ghul, as in because it's Arabic for head of the demon or the demon's head. I'm not sure what order it's in, but those are two things that Ra's al Ghul. But not only is it Ra's al Ghul here because animated series, they did that, said that a lot, but they referenced that in Batman Arkham Knight. Let's play the clip. Hey guys, so stuff got cut out again, and well, it turns out not only was I wrong here, that it was actually that the Dark Knight trilogy used Falcone. So oh wait, maybe I did say that. Hang on. Okay, so not only was I interrupted, but while I was interrupted after actually weeks, I was able to look it up, and apparently I had it backwards. Falcone is the correct Italian pronunciation, while Falcone is the Americanized version. So, whoopsies. Actually, no. Falcone is how it's been used in a lot of stuff recently, mostly the Batman. But uh, but another thing happened with Batman Begins. Batman Begins, I thought was like on a pronouncing things wrong spree, but actually it was the opposite. Arkham was because Ra's al Ghul is actually supposed to be pronounced Raj al Ghul, as in because it's Arabic for head of the demon or the demon's head. I'm not sure what order it's in, but those are two things that Ra's al Ghul. But not only is it Ra's al Ghul here because animated series, they did that, said that a lot, but they referenced that in Batman Arkham Knight. Let's play the clip.
Ceremonial swords used by Rish al Ghul.
Okay, it was pretty funny, and I I may or may not have installed Batman Arkham Knight and gotten that footage just for this. I may have. You'll be the judge of that, or but anyways. I just find that really funny that this is twice. This makes it the second time that the Arkham series has made fun of the fact that that the the pronunciations for some of the more non-American names in the Arkham series or in Batman media in general is just wildly inconsistent. All right, let's continue. Now, this scene I always was confused for until I thought about it for a second, because if you're watching this, you obviously seen all the episodes, or at the very least played through the game. Actually, other, but anyways, then you know that Bolton was the person that attacked Falcone in the chapel. Now, Bolton is also talking to Falcone about it. This creates a problem for us because, well, why would he still be going through all this to like give Falcone his guns and guys, the guns and guys that they protect him later on? But then I realized Falcone still probably could be a target for the actual Rat King, and so having him like that to lure him out is lure the Rat King into the prisons, or at least his forces to you know, I'd say arrest, but given Bolton's stuff, it'd probably be kill. So so but yeah, that's what I see. And it's only one night. And by later, when Bolton decides to try and kill Falcone, they just he the night didn't go as they thought, so he outlived his usefulness. And you don't have to go through all these events when the dialogue finishes. If you just go quick, it just skips right to this. Okay. All right. When I first played this, I was not expecting there to be actual combat as matches. That's just something cool I found. But I do find uh, these small fights as matches good for me, simply because I would always stop playing right as like go to stop it. So these would always give me a nice warm up to like relearn the combat of the game, or not relearn, just get back into the flow of things. Because I'm probably okay. So first of all, this scene is after countering Nakano or Yamashiro, you're supposed to your hand's gonna get stabbed, and you can actually see scars from that stab wound uh, later on when you're playing as Bruce Wayne in the epilogue, or both epilogues, and you can see the hole in the glove from now on. But I'm gonna slow it down because I'm gonna show you guys something that I learned this playthrough that you might have noticed that I will never be able to unsee. For whatever reason, in this scene, I'm slowing it down. I'm gonna slow it down. Punch, punch, punch. I might have gone back a little too far. So there we go. Now I try to. Hang on. It still was. For some reason, Nakano, or technically Yamashiro, is T-posing just with the knife right there. Normally, when this scene happens, he's on camera, but I was really focused on kicking ass that I didn't really look at him much because, well, I knocked him down. And this is just really strange that this happened to me for the first time only here. Just real weird. Just real weird thing to think about. So let's get it back up to normal speed. But it's only for like a split second that you notice it. But now you'll never be able to unsee it. I always like this scene in how Yamashita just kind of stands there and lets you revel in it. it. I think it's a bit of a hint to the fact that, well, he's the honest police officer that Batman said it was in there because because after subduing him, like, put making him not a threat, he doesn't like go on him or at all, which is pretty cool, or at least good stuff. Now this scene, this bit where Bolton, does his thing to you. I one time on the Night, I had a lot of free time during these cutscenes that were skippable. I would try looking behind me to see what would happen to Wallet, and he'd always spawn behind. He just teleports in this scene. His model just teleports in and then does what it does. Really strange, but makes sense considering they can't have any pre-rendered cutscene, or a lot of they did have a few, but they don't have a lot of pre-rendered cutscenes because it's a VR game. Now, oh wait, no, Arkham Analysis already did that. Once again, go to her channel. She makes some great stuff and it covers a lot of stuff I'm refusing to cover for time's sake. That little circle is just me trying to recenter because, well, after fights in this game, like you get turned around a lot because you're getting the flow of things. So I had to recenter. That little icon means you're recentering in VR for people that never done VR before, but that's okay. In fact, this channel is for people that want to experience the stories of VR games without having to shell out the money for a VR headset, or just like you got to be in good physical health to be able to use it. Simply because I'm pretty sure this game in particular, if you're like really like old or like just injured or something, you probably not. It wouldn't be good. Now, and never mind. Now, since I always skip this cutscene, I did not know the controls for this thing or where it's supposed to inject it, so I tried a bunch. I likes the like me getting turned around earlier, or it was only one time. It's not as bad as I remember. Oh wait, no, like the turning around, it wasn't that big of a problem where I was like, I'll fix it in editing. Mainly because a bigger problem happens later down the line. I struggled to do the thumbs up. I love how this book exists simply because it just lets you learn about their growing up. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but I realized that is a really good nervous tick for Batman wanting to try and like go back to the memories, but the good times. But then I realized no, he has a job to do. I didn't notice that, but a lot of the hand movements I didn't notice, but they were really cool and added to the experience, so they stayed. Like doing away with the hand because, as I said, this is a little before the character development, which happens later down the line. I think in chapter 3. So I still wanted to play Batman as a bit of an asshole. I stuck around here for a while simply because I felt this stocks discussion was more important, and I also wanted to play with the fingers because the finger physics in this game are wonky. They kind of look like sausages, or at least it's weird. I tried to do the Spider-Man thwip thwip. They should make a Spider-Man VR game. I'd buy that in a heartbeat. Some explanation as to why he was here earlier. More news, but I think that already played. Yeah, yeah. I was checking real quick. I love the way that Alfred wrote this in cursive, considering how how much of a fancy pants he is. Put on the, but despite how he's overall, if he was doing crime fighting, he'd overall be a lot more brutal than Batman. Put that one comic panel up on screen. Okay, so I made a mistake, but we're back on track now. I wanted to try do that and just I was still a little I just love the image of Bruce Wayne just being oh wait, so wasteful he just doesn't want to do his keep it. He just feels like it's better. Now, right here is one of my favorite things that they did in this game because because I'm gonna put a video in the description about this, but basically there was a lot of inconsistencies with the Gotham skyline from Arkham Asylum and City compared to Arkham Knight. But this one fixes it by just having the ones from Arkham City and Asylum, the really tall ones, be behind the shorter ones in Arkham Knight. It's a nice little inconsistency fix there. They did here. I like it. I was trying to look for it because I heard about it in the comment section of that same video, but I want to put it on a video so that it or mention it here because it'll get a lot more traction. I wanted to try and experience the entire, try and make you be able to see the entire Arnold Wesker to ventriloquist origin story. Well, I just leaked my recommended videos again. Oopsie. I love this bit. You just suit up. I wish it could have had like a really cool, like badass suit up sequence like in Arkham VR, but that would have been cool. Oh. I love the decoder simply because it's a very smart way to make sure there's not too much clutter by just combining disruptor and via an upgrade and the cryptographic sequencer. I really like how how pretty much since Origins have tried to have challenge maps integrated into the story. Because in Asylum and City, they just felt kind of, random. This, I never use this feature, you never saw me use simply because, well, it lets you go back to the stuff from the chapter 1 prologue, which, the only stuff thereafter is, just collectibles, which I wasn't doing. So, yeah, but I just felt it very jarring that, like, but it was actually not really jarring now that I think about it for a second. Another little mistake I made, but still wasn't noteworthy enough for me to decide to just, oh, and leaked, for me to just not really. I never understood why this first little yard area was in Predator section, simply because Predator sections are so much rarer than Comet sections. I always felt like they should just maximize the amount of Predator sections that can be. I mean, obviously, don't change the map. It's just make it so that more Predator sections still up because show up because they're fun. More very powerful stuff being said. Possibly possible hypocrisy here, but he does make a really good point about the Rat King. Gotta love that. I like that combo. It's just very clean. in terms of just getting them down. It, I mean, I hated when I first launched when I first played because I didn't know it, but now that I do know it and spam it with smoke bombs, I tried to climb up smoke bombs. It's still pretty cool. Yeah, for some reason the dialogue didn't stop during the fight, which is pretty funny. I wanted to get that. I wanted to read the news. I already talked about newspapers and why I like them. Okay, right there was I'm very proud of this cut I made because the original time I did this, I tried to go in front and around the catwalk to get the guys back there, but apparently that breaks this scene, so I had to reload. But I didn't. But besides, because like the interrogation just doesn't go through because nobody says anything and nothing gets triggered. But I'm very proud of the cut I made. You can hardly tell. I'll point it out right there. You can barely tell. I always was really proud of this entry simply because of how many guys I was able to get before like they actually had any time to react. Oh, I was hitting the little wall earlier. Also had some trouble. Gotta. I love the music in this sequence. Little thing after they play a much more intense version of the starting the fight, but it's calm because you aren't fighting. Oh, I had another cut due to more glitches. I just remembered about it, but this one I didn't edit as well because I was really tired. Because the other edit took me a while. I love how quickly they give up here. I accidentally did it, and well, I really don't like how Alfred interrupted him because he was gonna do his thing, telling us about how it's hardly better your conditions than the prisoners. I never liked this section simply because you always have to be looking up for a long time, for a lot of the time at least, which would put a lot of strain on your neck after a little bit. Maybe that's because it is. I love as much as I love Bolton's writing later on in the game. I do find his writing early on in the game with him just genuinely fanboying over Batman so goddamn funny. It's so funny. Now this fight is really hard simply because there's so many. Or on New Game Plus, it is because so many guns. So many guys with guns. Those were a collectible in Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, just so you know. I love with explosive gel doing some fun stuff with moving it. I love watching the thumb go up in this. Now, I have no idea why they added like that little detection time to this. Actually, it probably was in the other games. It was just invisible. I love doing that like a magic trick. You have to, do this for the door. You really can't really go around there because of, oh, damn, what a roast. Oh. I love the blade dodge. Hang on, I want to slow it down, considering it's some really awesome jujitsu. Yeah, I want to slow it down simply because it's really awesome. It's probably the most awesome move this game has. So first you initiate it by parrying the not very good strike, and then lock in. They do their stabby stab and their slicey slice, and after that they're tuckered out, and you can easily get wrist control. And then you just have a little button there, and then pop, classic jujitsu. I love that mention of yoga because it gets brought up later. Because apparently the Falcone gang are a bunch of yoga guys. That's how they're able to be lean, limber enough to, well, not completely fold like lawn furniture against Batman. I mean, they still kind of fold, but it's more like a multi-tool than a lawn furniture. Still pretty bad. Oh, another play touch stick. I just love these. I tried to do as many as possible simply because they are so awesome. I can't do it against bullets, even though. Oh, wait, not bullets, aren't blades. I like how I was cricking right for combat. It's something Batman always does in the other games. Now, on I'm the Knight, this fight is super hard simply because of the minigun and just grenades too, and also because like you have to do the things early on before all get guns from it. Honestly, the best way to do this fight on Eye of the Night, which is what I'm doing here, just out of habit, I died in this fight probably the most, considering it's a very large difficulty spike and pretty early on. Best way to deal with those bomb carts is to throw a smoke bomb so that you can do your work. Uh, I don't know why I couldn't run. Oh, it's because it was a cutscene, but it just happened at the exact wrong time. Another one of these clean one. Oh, I love those things. I love them. I love them. Clown Puncher 139 reference. If you know, you know. I love just how he's still able to do it. Now, here's another speedrun technique because this is an unskippable cutscene. But after you go through the ground like this, I don't remember if it's smoke bomb or explosive gel, but using one of them completely ends it as if he because it's coded to do it after he takes damage, but it doesn't let you punch you, but you can do it through other ways. Okay, it's a smoke bomb. I did explosive gel here, so drop the smoke bomb next time you do this fight, and you can save a couple of seconds. Now this is an enigma. I like this. I like this one. I just like it. The problem is it got cut out because I decided to also be walking. Yeah, Alfred kind of ruined it. Damn it, Alfred. So I just thought, but basically he said some stuff that implied that he knows that Catwoman is his illegitimate child because he cheated on his wife. In case you needed more reasons to hate Falcone. I think Arkham Analysis said it, but I love how suddenly just joyful Alfred is when he learns that they're bringing Barbara in to help him out. Ooh, ooh. I like doing the funny things. It's so silly because it turns the oh I I didn't notice this in it or in editing, but apparently after this explosion for r- r- right there for a few seconds there apparently is a break in the fabric of reality, kind of weird, and it stays there. Could if anyone knows if that's like some kind of problem with my headset, that it might be. I'm not too worried about it because I've used my headset loads of times since I filmed this, and it's been fine. But if that's some like big issue, please let me know. I love how snarky she is about it, but she deserves to be. Because Batman, despite his character development in Origins, where he learned that like he he's not alone anymore. He can rely on others to help him out with stuff he does, which is uh um uh I do like how he still is not quite into it because he's it's not just like just you now accept everyone's help now. That's just not, or character development's just not a snap fingers and boom, it's happening now. Sadly, that's just not how it works. Okay. Oh wait, no. Arkham Analysis said that. I keep catching myself, guys. Arkham Analysis. I always felt like Ratcatcher was a very underrated villain in Batman mythos, and he could be a really, really cool villain for like a story about whether or not Batman's no kill rule is actually a good idea. I mean, this kind of is it, but Ratcatcher is kind of just there. He doesn't actually play much of a role in the story. Alfred says this later, but I really like how this really old, rickety one that was fixed as a publicity stunt is the only working elevator in all of Blackgate right now. Now here I did a bit of a more thorough look at the skyline because I still hadn't quite confirmed it yet in my eyes, but I eventually confirmed it in my eyes at least. Well, that's it.